I was standing exactly on those spots and I was getting photographed. It was everything that I needed at that time in my life. It was too big a moment for me.
Spend a lot of time at the Cannes Film Festival or Berlin, just also watching films, and it's a great education. And they just support art for art's sake.
We see short films, we see films from all over the world, and it basically continues to prove how small the world actually is and how similar the world actually is.
Cinephiles, I'm Mandira, and today we're embarking on a cinematic journey like never before. A warm welcome to everyone. Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films presents Select Films, Select Conversations with the Select Ones. Now, let's dive into the heart of our conversation. Future Perfect. Today, we're going to talk about the incredible evolution of Indian cinema, transcending borders and creating a global resonance. We'll also discuss how short films, along with feature-length wonders, have become ambassadors of our storytelling prowess across the world. We've got three celebrated actors joining us today who've done everything from short films to commercial biggies. Today, they'll be telling us about their experiences on working on these different formats of cinema and how our future perfect Indian content is making waves around the globe. Well, now it's time to call our first guest. From a serial killer who gives you the chills to a diligent cop who saves the day, he plays the most difficult roles with a certain ease and always emerges a winner. Recently, he won the Best Actor series in a critic category of the Filmfare OTT Awards. Here comes the man of the hour, Vijay Varma. Welcome. One thing about our next guest is her discerning taste when it comes to picking the right scripts. With names like Gangs of Wasseypur, Badlapur, Maharani, and Monica Oh My Darling, she has created a frame-worthy filmography. Give it up for this dazzling dynamite of Indian cinema, Huma Qureshi. Hi. Our final guest for the day is another talented gem who's loved by the critics and the audiences alike. His spectacular performance in Rocket Boys scored him an Emmy nomination this year, and we couldn't be more proud. Performers like him are truly made in heaven. Let's welcome the very charismatic Jim Sarbh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films, where cinematic dreams meet global applause. Jim, big congratulations. You got an Emmy nomination this year.
Ooh. Thanks.
Ooh. So, there's been a sudden shift. A lot of attention has been drawn towards Indian content, Indian films, Indian shorts. What do you think the reason for that is?
What the exact reason is, I can't say, but what was lovely about being there was seeing that these shows that otherwise we wouldn't get to see, or we wouldn't get to see celebrated, were all being celebrated because of streaming.
YouTube and OTTs are probably the reason that the world has become a smaller place.
Yeah, and also the fact that we see shows, we see short films, we see films from all over the world, and it basically continues to prove how small the world actually is and how similar the world actually is, even though we think it's so different in different places. I remember the first time I watched Itu Mama Tambien when I was much younger. I remember watching it in the States and thinking, because there's this one scene, there are many scenes where the camera kind of vanishes away from the main action and takes us into a little side story that the narrator kind of just talks us through. And there's one where they go into the back of a little roadside food place on the side of the highway. And it looked exactly like a dhaba, exactly like a dhaba. And I was thinking about how crazily similar Mexico and India must actually be. And I felt the same way while going there just now. You meet all of these people, you meet them, they're happy and proud to have made a show that is receiving global, what's it called? Recognition.
Love, yeah.
Yeah, and love. And it just continues to reinforce the belief that the more hyper-local you are, the more specific you are to a particular place, the more universal you also are. Because human experience is more or less the same.
That's beautiful. While short films have been around for a while, they've been garnering a lot more attention lately. The Little Terrorist and several other titles got global recognition on an international level, and that definitely needs to be celebrated. Notably, Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films stands out as a brand championing impactful short films and fostering the creativity of emerging filmmakers. Now, all three of you have worked in short films as well as feature-length films. The workings of the two are different, but we're going to talk about short films to begin with. What are the challenges and opportunities when it comes to short films?
I don't really see much challenges in short film. I feel it's so concise and it doesn't require too much of your time. It's easy to get in, easy to get out. Again, the subject could determine how challenging or difficult the character could be. But my experience with shorts have been very good. I studied at the Film Institute in Pune. And all the students all make short films. That's the training. And these films would go to prestigious festivals. And then we've discovered some great talents that came out of that experience.
Opportunity ही opportunity. कोई challenge नहीं.
Koi challenge.
Huma?
Sabse pehle to I don't think they have the kind of pressures that a big budget film or a feature length film or a series has, you know. And I think more often they are projects that come from a lot of young people with a lot of enthusiasm and passion and in a sense of, you know, in a space of exploration. And I find that very, very beautiful. Like whenever I see a bunch of kids just be like, hey, come on, let's go make a film. You know, and I think everybody's doing everything and they're, you know, like sort of clear-cut or defined roles in that sense. And it's just a great environment where people are just trying to express themselves, at the same time explore. So it's learning by doing and learning on the job in the most truest sense. Like I've been part of a lot of short films and I feel like there is this, there's a beauty in it, you know, and an innocence in it, which you don't, I think, have when you later go on to doing more professional projects. There's so much freedom to just explore and express, and sometimes some really like fantastic ideas come out of it.
The thing that I really admire about short films when it's done really well, and something that I feel that feature films could actually learn a lot from, and series as well, is thrusting you directly into the story and the character, like immediately.
Yeah, the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter.
And
this is what it is.
Not everything is justified. Not everything is explained.
Yeah.
A lot of it is understood. And most of the short films, which I particularly enjoyed, don't give you all the answers.
No.
That's the fun of it.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah.
So generally no challenges, it's all good. It's about a certain passion. It's about coming together because you want to and you have an idea, and even a smaller budget, you'll still see it through. You'll still, you know, make it happen.
Yes, I agree. Everything that you said right now. What I mean by there are no challenges is that medium allows you to make mistakes. It is forgiving, you know, because the film will come out, people will write reviews, box office, this, that, ratings. A short film is an experiment, so you're allowed to fail and make mistakes in it. And most often than not, if you are given the freedom to make mistakes, you end up learning something and not making the mistakes and correcting yourself.
Sure. I mean, Robert De Niro, that's what he says. You should learn how to fail bigger and bigger and better each time.
Yeah.
Each time you should have the opportunity to fail bigger. But of course, it's a money game, right? The reason...
I said it before Robert De Niro right now.
Right now, yeah.
Okay, you win.
First short films, Shore,
Yes.
directed by Raj and DK.
Yes.
And it won an award in New York as well. That was quite a discerning choice for, for something that's in your very early part of your career.
Correct.
Talk us through Shore.
I was still a student at the Film Institute. So they had this idea of a short story, and they came looking for talent to FTI. They hired the DOP from there. They hired the actors from there. So I was one of them.
And they were not
Found job.
established back then. They were not
No, they had
who they
not
are
made
now.
a single feature film by then. And they had this concept, which eventually became Shore in the City. So they took, because they came, they couldn't, they were facing another kind of an issue, I guess. They could not make people understand what they're trying to say. So they thought they'll make a short film first and show that short film to the producers and explain to them what their vision is.
I see.
A visual explanation. And it worked, the trick worked. They made the short, it won several awards. They immediately got funding from, I think, Ekta Kapoor, and they made the feature. So yeah, it was the best employment for a student. I got paid as well,
Wow.
which was rare.
Beyond Vada Pavs.
Beyond Vada Pavs, I came to Bombay to shoot this one, and and that short film was those 2-3 years when I didn't have work. That short film was, I would just put it as say,
Calling card.
"Kaam kiya hai dekh," But I had something to show, and that was big at that time because people didn't have anything substantial to show, and that just worked. So
Fantastic.
it helped me a great deal, yeah.
Short film that I did called Sometimes I Think About Dying, that eventually it played at Sundance, it got shortlisted for the Oscars. It didn't make the final 5, but it made the top 10. It was all of these students from Emory, that like my friends that I remember from Emory, that came together to make it. Nobody was being paid. Everybody was, you'd end the day and everyone would cook together and make dinner. And,
What fun.
And then eventually the short film did so well. And I feel those are just the best, the best ones. The ones where you're not expecting it to turn into anything, but you're just happy with the final product. Like what you're saying, like I can show somebody now and say, watch Sometimes I Think About Dying.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a good short film. Check it out. It's so good.
Yeah, that's your initial calling card, right? In those days when you're like trying to figure out how do I break it in or how do I tell people that I'm an actor and hey, hire me.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Uma, yours was Gubbare, your calling card.
But
First
listen,
call-
I'm feeling very jealous because they both had really like awesome debuts as far as their short film
Great
was
stories.
concerned.
Yours should be as good.
No, my story was, it was me and a friend of mine and we were out of work. He was struggling to be a director and I was struggling to be an actor. And every day we had nothing to do, so we'd meet for coffee. And then I fancy myself as a bit of a writer. So I started my writing career also. Then so I wrote a short story. I'm like, I've written something. He's like, "Arey, bahut achhi hai, let's make this." So I'm
So
like,
you've
okay.
written Gubbare.
So I've written Gubbare. Listen to this. This is an end over there. This is the height of being like indie. So I wrote this and my friend's like, yeah, let's shoot it. So he got a camera from somewhere and we got a crew and another friend, Tapan Basu, agreed, who was assisting Tasadduk then. Said, okay, I'm going to shoot it. So we are like, oh, wow, now we have an actor, we have a director and we have a DOP. So let's do this. Then we had no money. So I remember going to the ATM and I think I had 30,000 bucks in my account.
Wow, you were
This is the
rich.
15 I need and 15 I can give you as my contribution to the film.
Wow.
So no, I also had to
That's
produce.
50% of your entire wealth.
Can you imagine at that point in time? So I really backed myself hard. Like I really believed in myself.
But your story is really good. You were not just the actor, you were the writer and producer.
Because nobody was hiring me. I feel bad. He's working with Rajan DK.
The only person who I
His
know
film has
who
gone to
does this.
Sundance.
And how did Gubbare work out for you? What did you feel at the end of it? And
I think a great sense of just accomplishing something. I think that
you
was
use
really
it as a calling card, like
100%.
Yes.
We all use it as a calling card. I think because all three of us, Tapan, Vivek and I were starting our careers out. We all are doing pretty well. At that point in time, when you're really trying to like find your feet, to have something that you can show, see, I can act. Because my experience before that was Delhi theatre. But that's just something you can tell people. You can't really show like a recording of like a monologue or a piece that you performed on stage. And also, I think it was one of the first times I was facing the camera. And I was working with friends. So it was just a very, a cocoon kind of an environment we created for ourselves. So it felt really good.
now from Gubbare, let's go to zombie apocalypse. I mean, Hollywood. Were the processes different there? And what was Hollywood's view on Indian cinema and Indian actors?
I mean, honestly, I was shocked at how small the crew was. I mean, and that was quite surprising to me because I feel
really?
like on an Indian film set, I just see so many people. Like yesterday, I was shooting for an ad shoot and there were 200 people on set. And I'm like, but what are they doing? And over there, the crew is really tight. At no given point in time, were there more than 10, 12 people? Like, in my line of vision.
Wow.
So people were working, but everyone knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Because it was my first experience also working on a very big action film, I was quite intrigued as to how do they pull off these big action sequences, because that's something we all grown up watching, and how they have these specific safety procedures, which they are very adamant on, nothing can move that. Like, this is one shot of me and Ella when we're going behind, and this zombie is supposed to attack us. And we're on the 37th floor of the Trump Towers. And as a zombie is attacking us, we're just supposed to take 2 steps back. And the DOP has just opened the windows to let the light come in. Now they've reversed the axis. And they're like, oh, we can't shoot this. We have to secure the 37th floor. So, and then we had to wait for 45 minutes till they put some net or whatever in case somebody slips. And I'm like, but the window is bahut dur. We won't go that far. It's just
safety is,
Even so.
So safety first. And I was like,
Do you think with more Indian actors doing Hollywood films, that'll impact, increase Bollywood's impact on the global scale?
I think it's happening for sure. I was, in fact, in LA when Guneet won her Oscar for Elephant Whisperers, and when RR got the acclaim. And I felt so proud because I'm like, now it's not just a question of people winning from India. Now it's also people from our industry. When you are talking to a person in New York or LA and they recognize who a Priyanka Chopra is, they know who a Guneet Monga is, they know what an RR is, they know the steps to the song, and and that for you is a really important moment, because I feel like we're at such an important cultural tipping point where there's so much curiosity about our stories, our music, our culture. And I feel that's how cinema and the scope of our stories are going to keep evolving and impacting people and create more opportunities for this to be a more level playing field. Because when you share stories with another culture is when you are able to, break prejudices, break stereotypes, educate them about yourself.
Yeah, I think also we aren't aping stories from other countries anymore. We're really trusting the fact...
And if we do, they get nowhere. The ones that are about our culture and our roots, those are the ones that...
We're trusting that there are multifold millions of interesting stories to be told coming right out of India. And I think we're doing it more, and I think it's proving to be successful more. I think all of these stories are basically that.
Yeah.
But I remember I shot with Michael Winterbottom here in India.
Which one?
The Wedding Guest was the name of the film.
Oh, I've seen it. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, with Dev Patel and
of course,
Radhika Apte. And I remember the first day on set, and we were shooting in India. I think I've gotten ready. I'm wandering around outside. It's like a pretty place. I've gone on a little walk. I've checked my watch. It's coming up in 11. I'll head to set, walk over to set. Must be 11:05. 11:05. Everyone is sitting on their marks. Everyone is ready to go. I'm like, oh. Pin drop silence as I walk and sit in the car of where I'm supposed to be.
That's scary.
And Michael walks over and leans on the thing and he's like, so we start at 11. Okay?
It can be quite intimate.
And I was like, yeah. Sure. I was never late again, and...
that's how processes are different.
But that was one of the things that I remember thinking, wow, this is really wonderful, because nobody's time is wasted, firstly. And secondly, if you really go 11 to 7, you can really rest, relax, prep for tomorrow, and you come ready to go at 11 the next morning. You're not scrambling, you're not underslept, you're not grouchy. That time isn't being wasted. So this is the difference in the process.
I worked with Michael as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. This film called Trishna.
Yeah.
So this is before Gangs released, okay? And guess what? The only time in my life I think I've done an item song has been for a Michael Winterbottom film, and me and Vicky Kaushal, where both of us are new, dancing to a song called Maintenance and doing a proper, a Bollywood.
I'm yet to work with Michael Winterbottom.
Soon.
I was going to ask you, what's your Michael Winterbottom story?
Soon. Hello, Michael. I'm free here.
No, but a little while ago, we heard Jim talk about his Emmy Awards experience. You visited Cannes. What struck you about that, international film festival? And what was your observation as far as what people there thought about Indian cinema, Indian actors?
It was a surreal moment for me. This is 2013 when I first visited. It was my first film called Monsoon Shootout. We made it. I was playing the lead, and I hear the news that it is selected for Cannes, and in a couple of months I was there. And all the pictures I'd seen of actors like, Javier Bardem or Penelope Cruz, and I was standing exactly on those spots and I was getting photographed. I was walking the red carpet. Everything was happening for a boy who just graduated from the film school, did his odd waiting for a few years, and I'm here. And it just, so on the day of the screening, it was a midnight screening and it was raining pretty heavily. And we thought there's no way people will show up at 12 in the night for a film from India. And it was a Lumia theatre, which is the biggest theatre in Cannes, which is a 2,000-seater.
That's asking for a lot, for a midnight screening, right?
2,000-seater. All got filled. 2,000 people who are dedicated cinema lovers, who are there out.
That's the validation.
It's under the umbrellas in their coats and fully dressed. And it was a red carpet, black tie event. But people show up.
And how was the film received?
To a thunderous applause inside, and then we had thunders outside as well. It was everything that I needed at that time in my life. It was too big a moment for me.
What do you think the importance of film festivals like, these is in promoting cultural exchange and, of course, promoting Indian cinema?
Well, not just Indian cinema. I think it's an opportunity for us to showcase the best of what we are doing and to also watch. Like, I've spent a lot of time at the Cannes Film Festival or Berlin just also watching films. And it's a great education because you feel like so many different filmmakers from all over the world, sometimes with budgets, no budgets, are trying to tell so many interesting stories. And it's always been very fascinating to me. Like festivals like Venice or Cannes, they just support art for art's sake.
Yeah.
And that is so fascinating. So when we have like brands today or influencers today wanting to associate, you understand the reach that these films are going to create. And like I went to Cannes with my first film, Gangs of Wasseypur. And that was quite special. So I completely related to you when you were talking about it. It's just a very surreal moment.
I was just thinking, even while you were speaking about Mami that just happened over here, was brilliant.
Yes.
Right? Some amazing films are brought down that you get to see, that you get to experience. They had master classes by Mira Nair one day.
Yes.
They had a master class by Luca Guadagnino. I mean, the opportunity to go and listen to him give a talk is just incredible. Incredible that we are getting to do these things and that the film festivals create these circumstances and spaces wherein you can do that.
Jim, the role of Homi Bhabha is one for the ages. I mean, till a couple of years, congratulations.
Okay.
Till a couple of years ago, a show, a film on scientists would not have really been that well received. Do you believe that our audience is developing a discerning taste because of their exposure to so much more international content?
So this is where I actually disagree. I think that there is no such thing as a boring subject. There's only a lack of art in making the
telling
subject.
The story.
Yeah, in telling the story, right? So if you tell the story with conviction and with art and with belief and with passion and all of the things that we were talking about, a great script, great technicians, great crew members, good actors, and then anything has the potential to be fascinating. So I don't know if it wouldn't have been received 5 or 10 years ago. It may have.
It may have.
It just may have.
If the story was told well.
If the story was told, yeah.
Sure.
So it's hard to say whether something would be received or not until it's done. And then once it's done, you're like, oh, see, it's well received. And I don't know if that's necessarily because of streaming and because of more international content. I think it's just will always be true that if you tell a really good story really well, there will be an audience for it.
Okay, guys, we've got a quick game for you. It's called the Select One. I'm going to throw questions about one of you to the other two, and you have to just answer or pick and maybe give a reason why, right?
All right.
It's a fun one. Now, this is for the two of you about Jim.
Oh, lovely.
Okay? If you had to pick one specific role from Jim Sarbh's repertoire that you admire the most or find particularly compelling, who would be your pick from these characters? Malik Kapoor from Padmavat, Brian from A Death in the Gunj, and Dr. Homi Bhabha from Rocket Boys. Which character would it be, and what makes that portrayal stand out for you?
For me, it was Malik Kapoor in Padmavat because it was such an original character, and there was this song that was picturized with Jim and Ranveer, where there was seduction
Unusual.
happening. And
That was my answer.
You don't get to see that in commercial
bathing, and
cinema.
You don't get
That
to
was
see
my
it. It
answer
was-
too. That was my, because I feel like it's
and
never been
Arijit
done.
singing, and there's
Yeah.
a lantern and a fire, and he's holding, and he's singing his heart out to the lover. It was such a beautiful moment on the screen. It came from nowhere,
Yeah.
and it just, it was probably the most original thing I saw at the movies, and I feel like it's Jim's, and nobody can recreate it, but it's just beautiful to watch.
I mean, I was going to pick that. I mean, although he was great as Homi Bhabha as well, and he's got the Emmy nomination. But I just felt like that moment when I was watching the film, and to watch that kind of a moment in like a mainstream commercial Hindi film on the screen with two men, Ranveer in all his alphaness kind of doing that, I thought it was very unique. And you both look great and had great chemistry, I thought.
Yeah.
Can I say, the two of you look
Thank
like you
you.
were made in heaven.
Is it?
Match made in heaven.
All the plugs.
All the plugs.
Okay, now about Huma. Huma is a versatile actor capable of portraying various characters with depth. We know that. Which character will she excel at? Amrita Shergill, a renowned painter, often considered one of the pioneers of modern Indian art. Sarojini Naidu, a prominent Indian independence activist and poet. And Homai Vairawala, India's first female photographer.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Parsi.
Of course you will.
Of course I will.
Homie picks
Represent
Homai.
5,000 people.
Huh? There's such few of us left.
I know.
So
1,500.
I remember seeing pictures of her wandering around, taking pictures.
And you thought, Huma.
I thought immediately Huma. No, you don't look anything like her, but
Right.
that doesn't matter.
matter.
It's not. I don't really look like Homi Bhabha either.
Right.
But the spirit of the person.
yeah.
Really fearless lady. At a time when there were no other female photographers, she was out taking political images, pictures of Parsis, making sure that wasn't a forgotten history. Yeah, I think she's a cool lady, and I would love to see you play that part.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Somehow, because it's such a not a popular name, and that story needs to be told, because we all know of Amrita Shergill ji and Sarojini Naidu ji. It's been part of our curriculum in school.
Sure.
I feel like need to put a light on this.
Okay, now this one's about Vijay. And you guys have to answer. Which character played by Vijay left you convinced that no one could come closer to portraying it? Moin from Gully Boy, Hamza from Darlings, and Anand from The Hard.
I want to ask him which one would he pick and play.
No. This one's...
Which of the three would you play with?
Yeah, which one would you? Which kind of creep would you like to be today?
I feel most comfortable being a serial killer.
Come on, you guys have to answer. This is not... It's about him.
I thought Darlings was a tougher part to play. Although The Hard he was also very good in. But I thought there's this point where, of course, you're a wife beater and, domestic violence. So as a character, as a character, you're a wife beater. As a character, you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
But then it's also that fine line about you trying to win her back or trying to woo her back.
Yeah.
There's this one moment when he's banging on the door and she's hiding from him, and how he switches. I thought that was pretty incredible for me. Suddenly he's like, "Acha baby, darlings, come out," and then suddenly his voice changes and he gets angry and he leaves. I thought that and stuff like that, scattered all over the film, made for a really enjoyable performance. It wasn't like a unidimensional character, which was great.
I like Gully Boy and Darlings, personally. Gully Boy because it was just wonderful seeing you in a character like that. Is a bit of a chunt, at times, but then is fiercely loyal and then is so connected to his boy and, all of that. I really loved. I really just loved watching you in that role. I thought you just ran away with the whole film, I thought you were so good in that. And of course, in The Hard, you have more control and you have more agency, right? Whereas in Darlings, you don't have as much control and agency. You are a lot more constrained by the nature of the women in your life and the role itself, and how you still manage to keep it rooted and real despite being so unlikable. Wanting no consequences for your behavior, wanting to just be able to shirk it off, like water off your back. I like both of those roles a lot.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Didn't it feel nice hearing your peers speak about you with so much insight?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it feels awesome. And I mean, such a keen eye and such great perception. And, because I don't understand beyond a certain point, the effect of the work. So it's very heartening to hear.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for sharing the way you did. That was fun and very insightful. It's been wonderful talking to you. It's been a great conversation. Thank you for joining us on this chat and sharing your thoughts.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Mani.
Thank you.
What an incredible time to be alive. An exhilarating era has begun for Indian cinema and everyone associated with it. Our conversation today was testament to the exciting times we're in. Not just full-length feature films, but even Indian short films are making waves and getting noticed globally. At this pace, Indian cinema is destined to emerge as an unstoppable force on the global stage. The conversations were delightful and the talent truly iconic. Before we part ways, I have to take a moment to thank Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films, weaving tales that transcend lengths, embracing both grand narratives and succinct stories. Signing off for now, but stay tuned to witness more exciting conversations around the world of cinema. Until we meet again.